Nothing says reaching out to the people than an event at Coachella. Bernie Sanders showing up at Coachella to give his to give a stump speech about why we got to stop Trump, because Donald Trump's a real bad guy. So first of all, I want to read this quote from this tweet from Tia Ballerina, who writes, Bernie showing up at Coachella to give his stale stump speech isn't, hold on, let me go ahead and pull this up here, isn't what bothers me. People need to wake up. What bothers me is that for 4 years, he didn't say a word about the entire platform he ran on, pushed Biden down our throat as the next FDR and backed his genocide. Seriously? He has so many people behind him. He has the power to organize exactly what needs to be done, but he never will. He still won't call Palestine a genocide for F's sakes. There you go. So what's this all about? Well, Bernie was in Coachella. So it's like, okay, Bernie, glad that you're here. Glad that you're speaking out at Coachella, baby. Let's go listen to this.
Look, I'm not going to be long, but this is what I want to say. This country faces some very difficult challenges. And the future of what happens to America is dependent upon your generation. Now, you can turn away and you can ignore what goes on, but if you do that, you do it at your own peril. We need you to stand up to fight for justice. To fight for economic justice, social justice, and racial justice. Now, we got a president of the United States who...
Now it's okay to criticize because, you know, he's not my good friend Joe.
I agree. He thinks that climate change is a hoax. He is dangerously wrong. And you and I are going to have to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and tell them to stop destroying this planet. All over this country, not in California.
Now, again, it's all about Trump. But look, Torwin, he says it right here. Tell us how Trump was such an existential threat and then bow down to every part, to the very party that cheated him twice and enabled Trump's victory. Yeah, I mean, I guess what? Listen, I get there's problems with Trump, but Jesus, Bernie, you're with a political party that's brand is sinking. It's stinky. It's smelly. It's stupid. It's dumb. You are done for, man. Bernie, why are you with a brand that doesn't respect you?
California, not in Vermont, where I'm from, but in Florida, where Maxwell is from, many other states. Politicians are trying to take away a woman's right to control her own body. We need you to stand up and fight for women's rights. We have an economy today that is...
So when the Democrats had a supermajority in the Senate and House in 2008, when Barack Obama was president, and Obama said it wasn't politically expedient to codify Roe v. Wade, I mean, where was the fight then, Bernie? What about when AOC got fake arrested, right? What about that? You know, I remember in 2022, there was a chance to really fight to codify Roe v. Wade, but instead, what did Democrats do? They sent out emails saying, "Hey, give us money, please, money us now, give us that money. We need your money, please, give me money."
It's working very well for the billionaire class, but not for working families. We need you to help us to create an economy that works well for everybody, not just the 1%. We have a healthcare system that is broken. We are the only major country not to guarantee healthcare to all people. We need you to stand up to the insurance companies end the drug companies, and understand that health care is a human right. Now I'm here to introduce Claro.
Oh God. My brain is falling apart in here, okay? Because what is this? Bernie, you're talking about Trump being this existential threat. Trump used to be a Democrat. He used to give money to the Clintons. He used to give money to Chucky Boy Schumer. He gave money to Democrats. He gave money to Democrats. So Democrats knew what kind of man Trump was before he entered into politics. Trump said it best during the 2016 Republican primary, in the early stages of it, when money in politics was brought up in the first Republican primary debate of 2016. I give these people money and they do what I say. Okay? So that means when the Democrats get money from their billionaire friends, just like your good friend Joe, Bernie, they're going to do what they say. It's interesting that you found your balls and your spine and your heart and your soul again after us waiting for so long. But because Trump is president, it's A-okay to go ahead and start saying, we need your help. What's code word for is give us the money. We need the money, baby. Let's continue on.
Not just because they are a great band, not only because Claro at the age of 13 posted videos on the internet as a singer-songwriter. I'm here because Claro has used her prominence to fight for women's rights, to try to end the terrible, brutal war in Gaza where thousands of women and children are being killed. So I want to thank.
So I guess now he's calling it a genocide. Okay, fine. What? Maybe I didn't hear the G word.
Thank Claro not only for being in a great band, but for the great work she is doing.
Great. So let's go ahead and talk about this because there's a little bit more here that I want to bring up here. Because while President Trump thrilled crowds in Miami, Senator Bernie Sanders found a more left-leaning audience at Coachella Saturday, where the socialist firebrand took to the stage to rant about his pet causes. The independent Vermont senator was a surprise opening act for singer-songwriter Claro, who Sanders thanked for allowing him to speak to the captive audience ahead of her much-anticipated performance, a speech he used to rail against 1%, Trump, and the war in Gaza. As always, again, Bernie being quoted, asking people to fight, asking people to stand up. And while Trump got thunderous reaction from the crowd in Miami at the UFC 314 event, his name didn't get a warm welcome when Sanders referenced him before the music fans in Blue, California. Well, no, duh. Of course, Trump goes to UFC. Did you not pay attention during the 2024 election cycle? Anytime Trump showed up at UFC with all the people there, from Tucker to Joe Rogan, everybody, of course, Trump is going to get thunderous applause at UFC. And of course, in California, Trump's going to get booed. Florida, California, two different places. Of course, that's going to happen. Is water wet? Is the sky blue? Come on, don't sell me that jazz. So here is Bernie, the 83-year-old revealed in a speech that he is a major fan of Gen Z musician Claro, who he characterized as a proper liberal advocate. Oh God. I'm dying. I'm dying on the inside. Sanders is currently on a speaking tour entitled Fight the Oligarchy, Where We Go From Here, which drew to Senator massive crowds in Arizona, Colorado, and California in the last 3 days. So yes, Bernie was there, and everyone's happy. So, as always, Sanders took to the festive stage Saturday night to introduce singer-songwriter Claro, whom he praised for using her platform to fight for women's rights and try to end the terrible, brutal war in Gaza, the genocide in Gaza. Before introducing the singer, he shared a message with the younger people to the crowd, obviously telling them to fight. We got tough times ahead. Here you go. Thank you, Coachella, as Bernie wrote. I enjoyed introducing the great Claro tonight. These are tough times. The younger generation has helped lead in the fight to combat climate change, protect women's rights, and build an economy that works for all, not just a few. So we've heard this before. We've all heard this before. This is what we've heard. His speech at Coachella came after he addressed a crowd of tens of thousands with AOC at Los Angeles Gloria Molina Grand Park Saturday afternoon. Writing on social media, Sanders said the event drew in around 36,000, breaking the record and the New York representative set in Denver in March. Your presence here today is making Donald Trump and Elon Musk very nervous, Sanders said as he announced the record to the crowd. So yes, huge. It's a record-breaking crowd. Sorry, as you record to the crowd. So there you go. Sorry about that. I read that wrong. The pair repeated many of the themes that have defined the fight oligarchy, where we go from here tour since Sanders launched it in February to counter both the billionaire takeover of the U.S. government and the move toward authoritarianism under Trump. Let's be clear about this, okay? We've had billionaires in government. We've had establishment figures, Wall Street executives, big banks, corporate takeovers. We had APAC lobbyists, all these lobby groups from big oil, the prison industrial complex, big pharma, the healthcare insurance industry in the Biden-Harris administration. And now I'm supposed to be, oh my God. Oh my God. Wow, it's Trump and Elon. Listen, I know Trump's policies, they're just the same as any other president, okay? And I know that a lot of people are easily triggered by Trump. But see, the problem started long before Donald Trump got into office. And you would think Bernie Sanders, with all of his years in politics, be it from the time he was a mayor to a House representative to even now as a U.S. senator and not running and not one, but two presidential election cycles, you think he figured out the Democrats have played a role in it too. But I guess the Democrats can have good billionaires. Remember, Elon, Trump, Zuckerberg were all liberal donors, Democrat donors. They gave money. They did. They gave money to Democrat politicians. But now, guess they're bad billionaires. But don't worry, there's good billionaires. What's the difference, Bernie? I mean, you're rallying against one side because what? It's not your team? What about all the times that the Biden-Harris administration made sure that nothing would fundamentally change? Because a lot of policies that were under Trump, Biden still continued on. Nothing changed, Bernie. So I get going to Coachella, but all right, what's it going to be? So in 2026, what are the Democrats running on? Help us get into office so we could stand against Trump. You got other Democrats saying they want to impeach Trump. This is the big issue that helped Trump in 2024 was the economy. Democrats run on the economy. I mean, that would be smart. But obviously, Democrats, you can't do that because, wait, Bernie, your new leader for the DNC chair wants good billionaires. So I don't know what kind of push and pull you have. When I look at this Fight the Oligarchy tour, I only can come down to one final conclusion about it. And no, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not trying to stop or be a roadblock. I would love it in theory. In theory, I would love it if this Fight the Oligarchy tour isn't just some sort of smoke and mirror dance show game in which it's just going to get people to vote Democrat and corporate neoliberal sellouts in the 2026 midterm election cycle and in turn hype people up for 2028. I mean, AOC, Bernie, I mean, are you going to challenge Nancy or Chucky Boy Schumer? I know AOC, we did a segment about her standing up against politicians that are doing insider trading. Well, gee, that means standing up against Mama Bear and all the other Democrat lawmakers are doing it. It's not just Republican lawmakers, it's everybody. The thing at Coachella, all what it was nothing but a one big circle jerk. Stop Trump. Okay, how do we get Trump? Because the Democrats undermined your campaign, Bernie, and you let them do that not only to you, but to your followers. I remember Philadelphia. I remember what happened in 2020, the infamous Super Tuesday phone call when Obama told Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, screwed that up. I guess I got to dodge now because I said her name wrong, to drop out and support Biden. And then you supported your good friend Joe Biden, your friend Joe Biden, who was against busing and desegregation, who browbeat and yelled at Anita Hill. Same Joe Biden didn't want his white kids to be with black kids. Same Joe Biden was against Roe v. Wade, right? Woman's right to choose. Same Joe Biden who said he'd gladly prostitute himself to corporations. Same Joe Biden who helped write the crime bill. I mean, even Bill Clinton apologized for that, and that's not saying much. I'm being too generous with that. Biden hasn't. Same Joe Biden who voted for the war in Iraq and sided with credit card corporations to make student debt for what it is. But don't worry, folks. Fight the oligarchy. Help out Bernie. And I guess if you're going to be critical of Bernie and AOC, I mean, I guess it makes you a bad guy. It's not that I'm a bad guy. It's just I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm tired of seeing this. And sadly, there are people, and I think the Democrats and Bernie and AOC might very well get away with it. 36,000 people showing up for at their One Fight the Oligarchy tour before Coachella. Knowing how unpopular Trump is, we all know how midterms play out. The Democrats, in my opinion, could very well, there's a 50-50 chance of them regaining the House and Senate, or at least one of those chambers. But until people wake up and realize that voting for Team Red or Team Blue is not the way, we're screwed. Somewhere out there, I hear Misty Winston saying, Kit, just stop talking about electoral politics. I know, but this is my cross to bear. Shout out to Misty. I know she's going to be doing great work on Due Dissidence, but I got to tell you, folks, if a lot of people are still falling in for Bernie Sanders' Pied Piper strategy, we're going to be in a long uphill fight. Citizen ballot initiatives and building movements and organizations not connected to Washington, D.C. is the way. Rallying against Trump, someday Trump's not going to be in office. And we're going to look back at this time and wonder why the Democrats couldn't capitalize on real things. And the thing is, you can't reform a corporate party because Bernie Sanders never had that dog in him. But it's okay. He's going to say some things people want to hear. But remember, that's how the Democrats operate. They say things you want to hear. And then as soon as they're in office, as soon as they're in power, they say F off.